Welcome to Seattle on this gray, cloudy summer day, for which I am grateful for at least Seattle being consistent and giving us something other than a heat wave that many I know in the country are experiencing. This is the first in a new series. We've completed the series of Jesus Old and New, and now this is the new series called Spirit, Ever New, Ever Old. We'll be reading sections of both the Old and the New Testament throughout, rather than whole chapters, which we largely tried to do the last time. We'll just read sections and give brief devotionals. The first text is from Genesis, where else? Chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. My first experience of seeing the Spirit be the center of Revelation was among the Native American communities, the tribal communities that I've had a privilege of ministering and knowing more importantly. They ministering to me probably as much as I to them, perhaps more. And that is the watching the evolution of an awakening of faith and the depth of its faith and the reverence inside Native Americans. I've never seen a people in tribal community or urban who conveyed more sensitivity and reverence in human relationships than Native Americans, honestly. And I believe that's because the Spirit, the Great Spirit for most of the plains and coastal American Indian tribes, was the focus of their creation stories, was the focus of their hearts. So from a Christian Trinitarian point of view, the native communities began with the Spirit, and instead of with the Son, instead of with the Creator, God. They certainly know both God as Creator and God as Spirit, but it is that sensitivity that I think forms the reverence, which in many ways is the heart of the gospel. That sense of revering, that sense of honoring, that sense of awareness of the sanctity and sacredness in all of life. It flows out of the emphasis upon the Great Spirit. We in the Western tradition call the Holy Spirit. In this opening text of the Bible, we see what, from my modern perspective, Enlightenment perspective, and it could be dead wrong in that, but you see what really appears to be the description of a black hole. I mean, listen to it. I can't think of anything that was more descriptive of it. It says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters." And then the creation of light, which of course, from a scientific view, would be the explosion of light that would come out of the mass of the emptiness of the black hole as it contracts to a point where the gravity is greater and therefore explodes. The Big Bang kind of theory. In any event, there's this sense that where there is nothingness, God is. And that's the important. Let's look at the first introduction of the Spirit in the New Testament in the book of Genesis, chapter 4. "Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, 'If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread.' Jesus answered, 'It is written, man does not live by bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God.' Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. "If you are the Son of God," he said, "throw yourself down, for it is written, He," meaning God, "will command His angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Jesus answered, "It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. "All this I will give you," he said, "if you will bow down and worship me." Jesus said to him, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve Him only." Then the devil left him, and angels came and attended him. Note that the introduction of the Spirit is into the darkness of the desert, into the empty vastness where God is. One of the reasons we in the Western traditions have a very difficult time knowing God is that we are so action-oriented. That may give us why we actually focus on Yeshua of Nazareth. We focus on the action of the physical, of the incarnational God, who expresses the reality of God in the creation, the cosmic Christ, who all of creation becomes a gift or presence that God penetrates every activity in creation, every action and interaction. God is between all of the molecules and inside of this explosion of energy. Certainly God is found in all that, and that's the incarnational aspect. But here we see something more important, I think, that where nothing is, God is. If your life is filled with too much nothingness, loneliness, boredom, listen deeply. You may be nearer God than you know. Blessings.